time, I'd like to introduce Hall of Fame coach Ken Perrone.
Wow, 47 years later, people still remember the greatest team that I ever coached. I should say one of the great two teams that I had at Brewer High School. Before I get started, Coach Jeffries said that he hasn't been around for he has been around, but he hasn't seen a lot of these people for 47 years and they didn't change. Now, I don't want to have to go to confession, so I'm going to tell it the way it is. I want to know what happened to my players. When I left here, you guys were all 15, 16, 17, and 18 years old. After 47 years later, I come back, and at that time when I left, nobody had gray hair. In fact, you all had teeth and hair, period. When I left here, nobody was married. I come back, and you're not only married and fathers, by God, you're grandfathers now. When I left here, as they like to say in football terms, you guys were lean, mean, agile, mobile, and hostile. Now let's take a look at this now. Lean, well, let's forget that. That's gone. Agile and mobile. Back then, Coach Gabriel used to time them in the 100-yard dash with a stopwatch. Looking at him today, I think he might have to use a calendar. Me, back then on the football field, those guys were like pit bulls and Rottweilers. I come back 47 years later, see that they've been tamed by their women. And what do I find but Chihuahuas and Poodles? I take full blame for this. If I hadn't gone off the tax to try to get rich instead of getting taxed to death, I would have been better off, and they definitely would have been better off because I would have been around. But not to worry. I plan to take care of some of you guys in your old age. I promise Payne, Coffin, Fortier, and Coyne that when I reach 100, that Coach Gabriel and I will visit them in the nursing home and volunteer to wheel them around. I have one nagging memory, though. I've been having a little trouble sleeping because I know Ralph Payne would try to get even with me. You see, at practice, I had this habit, every time we screwed up a play, of yelling at these guys, "Run it again! Run it again!" Well, I've been having these nightmares that when I visit Payne and start wheeling him around the nursing home, he's going to get even with me. I can see it now. He'll be screaming at me, "Wheel me around again, Coach! Wheel me around again!" Now moving on, trying to get a little serious. In my 6 years at Brewer, I was blessed with some great coaches. In my first 2 years, we had, and I like to have these guys stand up, if they're here, a lot of them are, and remain standing. I had Ralph Breyer, the late Hal Pressey, Ronnie Treat, Timmy Marcoyer, who went down to Salem, Mass with me and coached with me there for 22 years, played for me at John Baptist. He's here tonight. These guys coached the 1970 team as freshmen and sophomores. Timmy was drafted and had to go to Vietnam, and he missed the 70 team. They guided Brewer to their first undefeated state Class A championship in 1968. In 1970, I was very fortunate to have Eric McDougall, Dennis Kaya, Mike Clark, Maynard Corey, Dana Corey, and my right-hand man, Bob Gabriel. Will you guys please stand up for a minute? Come on. I want to thank these guys, and I'm sure the team wants to thank these guys also. Everybody knows you can't do it by yourself, and I was so fortunate to have great coaches with me all 6 years here at Brewer High School. I would also be remiss if I didn't mention our Boosters Club at the time, and some of the people that really impacted my life and backed me 100% when I was here. And that's the late Harry Estes, who I love dearly, Joe Coffin, Chip Norton, Phil Mealy, and Bud Leifer. They gave us everything that we needed. Our team was one of the best teams dressed on the field. We never lacked for equipment. They were the best. I miss them all. They have all passed away, but boy, this old coach loves them to death. Along the way, we lost some great players. Let me go back one moment. We have a legend with us tonight, and he gave us an awful lot of memories on air. He and the late George Gagne. And I was listening to a few of the tapes earlier this week. And there's nobody better. We were so fortunate to have George Hale and George Gagne do our games. I love the guy. They say he's the best in Maine, but to me, he's the best in the United States. George. Great team. We lost some players from our 1970 team who are now playing for God's team in heaven. They are here in spirit tonight with us. I get a little emotional because I love these guys. And in the minds of all who love them. Quarterback, Don McLaughlin and Kevin Griffin. Guards, Freddie Olson, Larry Coolidge, and Kevin Robinson. Tackles, Scotty Erickson, Brian Baker, and Big Leo Grass. Center, Elton Rideout. Ends, Scotty McLaughlin and Jimmy Fredericks. Managers, Jimmy Nelligan and Danny Day. Gone but never to be forgotten by this coach, and I'm sure by every one of their teammates. In life, there are many things you can be proud of. Your God and your family are right at the top. But your high school, Brewer High School, should be right there also. You can be proud of the people who helped you along the way. And as I look around here tonight, this room was full of teachers, coaches, and parents and girlfriends that helped get these guys along the way. You can be proud of all the lasting friendships you made. And if you were here earlier, there was a lot of loving going around in this room. There was a lot of hugging going around. These are the things that you got from your high school. The memories you can be proud of. The White-Footed Wonders, 106 strong, marching down Wilson Street in single file on game night, led by a fire engine and a police car with the sirens blasting. Cheerleaders, flag girls, a huge Brewer band playing Downtown Wendy and We Are the Champions. A huge crowd along both sides of the road yelling, Go Brewer. A flatbed truck with the carved out, or I should say printed out on cardboard, gravestones of the teams we beat and the scores, and a big sign on the side saying, May you rest in peace. The cars with black and orange streamers and a pep squad of around 80 girls, followed by 106 football players with white shoes, marching in single file down the street. This was an intimidating factor when we entered the field. 106 football players surrounding the field. And as George Gagne many times said, what an awesome sight. He said, score 12 points for Brewer before the game even begun, because the opponents would stand there and stare in awe of 106 football players circling the field. Cheerleaders holding up signs. Welcome to the House of Pain. Physical pain and Ralph Payne. You'll never go out the way you came in. And the unbelievable spirit of the Brewer fans then. These are all great memories for you, the 1970 team, and the fans of Brewer. The accomplishments you achieved are many. Football was started in 1915 at Brewer High School. In 102 years, that have only been 2 undefeated, untied state Class A championship teams. And the guys in this room, most of them, played on both of those teams. The seniors of the 1968 team, led by captains McZimmick, Franks, and Corey, set the bar high and showed you, the 1970 team, what it would take to be the very best. Your players, the 1972 team, ran with it and became not only undefeated state Class A champions, but destroyed the opposition, scoring 488 points to 40. The first team defense only gave up 24 points while intercepting 30 passes. The team led the nation in scoring with an average of 44.5 points a game, despite the first team sitting out almost the second half of 7 games because the leads were so huge at halftime. You were dominant in every phase of the game. You were ranked #1 in Maine, #1 in New England, #1 in the East, and #5 in the nation. Still got the pin that every student received. Imagine, #5 with over 4,000 teams playing football in the United States. When the board from Minnesota, the rating board from Minnesota called and said that they were thinking about ranking us in the top 100 of the United States, I was in awe. They asked me to send my films. I sent all 11 films. I got a beautiful letter back saying, "We are so impressed with the execution of this team. We are going to rank you #5 in the country." I could not believe it. This was an amazing accomplishment, considering the size of Maine in 1970. Maine didn't even have 1 million people. We had, to be exact, 993,000 people, compared to the #1 team, Texas, with 11 million, Ohio with 12 million, Illinois with 13 million, and California with 37 million. Reagan High School of Austin, Texas, came from a city of 398,000 people. We at Brewer at that time were 9,300. So you can see what an amazing accomplishment this 1970 team made. Because of the size of Maine, I don't think this amazing ranking will ever be broken. You will always be regarded as the best and highest ranked team ever to come from the state of Maine, and maybe from New England. My final words to you, especially my 1970 team, were written by a big burly lineman who played for the Green Bay Packers to quarterback Bart Starr, both played for the legendary Vince Lombardi. And the message, I've kept this in my desk for every year that I've coached, and that's a long time. The message goes, "I shall pass through this world just once. If therefore there be any kindness or good thing I can do, let me do it now. Let me not defer nor neglect it, for I shall not pass this way again." Remember, God's gift to you is your life, and what you do with that life is your gift to God. I want to thank you, the 1970 team, for the honor of being one of your coaches and the great memories you gave all of us. You are my extended family. You may be out of sight, but never out of mind to me. I love you guys, always and forever. It is with great pride I present the 1970 team as the first Brewer team to the Brewer Hall of Fame. How many cheerleaders do we have in here from past, way back, present, or in the middle? How many cheerleaders do we have in the room tonight? I know Shirley Esty was a cheerleader way back, I think maybe in the early 50s. I know Marilyn Buchanan's here from the 1970 team, and Sue Henderson. Sandy Langlis is also here. How many other cheerleaders do we have? Will you guys all come up and line up across here? not too long a night. And while they're lining up our Brewer football team, every time the 1970 team scored a touchdown or points, we sang "Stand Up and Cheer for Brewer." Every time the 1970 team crossed the Brewer Bridge after a road victory, the cheerleaders led us and stand up and cheer for Brewer. These girls are harder workers than our football team. I come here early and they'd be making signs and working. I leave and they'd still be here working, making signs and doing whatever they do. They were the greatest. So for the 1970 team and our new inductees who've all scored big tonight, and for Nick Arthur's 2017 team, we want to wish you the best tomorrow night. I want you all to stand, and I want to hear you sing. Stand up and cheer for Brewer. Here we go. Stand up and cheer. Come on, louder.
No, not yet. Not yet. This is kind of in two parts how we're going to do this. The next piece with the individual team members from that 1970 team. So we'll begin the presentation of the team award to the individual team members. And although we are saddened by the passing of 5 players, we are honored to have several of their family members here tonight. I'm going to call these folks up and their representative, and I would ask that they please stand here for a group photo. Accepting the team award for Larry Coolidge are his brothers, Joseph and Alan Coolidge. Accepting the award on behalf of James Frederick, his brother Sean Frederick. Accepting the award for Dawn and Scott McLaughlin are their sister Julie McLaughlin Lavasser. And accepting the award for Kevin Robertson are Kevin's grandsons, Triton and Nigel Tall. Thank you to those family members. Thank you very much. Now, at this time, the only time I'll ever overrule Coach Perone. I am ready to run through a wall for him, though. I would ask that the 1970 individual, the football players and the assistant coaches, please follow Ann and Kathleen to line up alphabetically in the hallway. Coach Perone will remain up here with me. We're going to shift a little bit because we have a lot of individuals that will be coming up. And at this time, I would like to turn the microphone over to Jim White.
Ladies and gentlemen, we'll take a couple minutes as we're getting organized. We really appreciate the tremendous turnout to support the athletes and teams being inducted tonight. You might be interested to know that there are 15 members on the Brewer High School Athletic Hall of Fame Committee. And any one of you can also nominate an individual or a team to be inducted. The easiest way, perhaps, is to go online at gobrewerwitches.com and go to the link Athletic Hall of Fame, and then go to the next link, which would be, there's one of several, but one of them would be nomination. And you can download a form in which to then nominate somebody and send it to the committee. Our deadline is February 1st each year. And the committee oftentimes has some very lengthy and sometimes intense discussions as they go through the different candidates that are being considered. But once the decision is made, the committee of 15 does an excellent job of getting behind those individuals that are finally going to be inducted for that particular year. There are a number of people, you might say, on a waiting list or in the pool of candidates that have not been inducted yet that are out there. And so others will be considered as we go along in the near future. Okay, Okay, I'm getting back out of the way. Okay, we're ready to begin. Okay, the first person that we're going to be introducing, and I'm going to wait just a minute. Kathy, would you come up, please? Okay, is Mark Bennett here? Mark Bennett, come forward, please. Would you please hold your applause until the very end so that we can expedite this as best as possible. Bob Bishop. Bob Bishop. Steve Bishop from Florida. Bob Bizzle. No, he's not from Florida, just south of us here in Oregon. Frank Bro. Dana Briggs. Richard Bruns. Mark Bullitt. Steve Campbell. Wayne Campbell. Scott Clark. John Corbett. Tom Coyne. Ladies, hold your applause. Philip Cowan. Ed Curtis. Bobby Beck. Martin Gus Donovan. From Colorado, Joe Drew. Gary Everett. Bob Fortier. Easy now, easy. He's my coffin buddy, Ronnie Tom. Larry Gagan. Mike Giles. Mike Henderson. Tim Higgins. Robin Holyoke. Brian Kameneski. Wayne Kameneski. And the next person who has done a great job of getting information out of our 1971 website, Gene Peter Lipak. Scott Langley. Bob Littlefield. Greg Lund. Joe McDonald. Ralph Payne. Terry Piper. Justin Rinfret. Herb Robertson. John Butch Robichaud. Mark Savage. Mike Strang. Bob Tata from Texas. Dennis Tate from Arizona. Bob Van Gissel. From Florida, Bruce Whitten. Okay, now the assistant coaches. Mike Clark. Hold your applause, please. Thank you much. Dana Corey. Maynard Corey. Bob Gabriel. Dennis Kaya.
Fire up!
And head coach Ken Perone.
All right, thank you to the 1970 team. Thank you and congratulations to all of our guests. This was the first opportunity for the Hall of Fame to induct a team, and I want to thank everybody that showed up. This was the biggest banquet that we've had. We're going to try to recreate that 1970 state championship football picture in the gym. We have the bleachers pulled out. I don't know if Ralph Payne's going to be able to kneel down with the football like he did in the picture, but we'll give it a whirl. I don't know if we'll be able to get it back up. But congratulations to everybody who was inducted tonight. Congratulations to the 1970 team who was inducted tonight. We do have a ceremony at halftime of the football game tomorrow with the City Brew. Our friends at the City Brew will help us recognize the individuals in the 1970 team during the football game. So we hope we see everybody tomorrow night at Doyle Field. As Coach Perone alluded to earlier, we have a big football game coming up. Kids have been working hard, and we're ready to go get it. So we need everybody's support tomorrow. I want to thank everybody. Safe travels wherever you may be going back to, whether it's Orrington, across the river, Colorado, wherever that might be. Thank you, everybody.